Hello, everyone, and welcome to our webinar today, Email 201. First, I just want to announce that our next webinar will be on Thursday, November 29th at 12 noon. Notice that there's no webinar next week. It's Thanksgiving week. So we're going to skip ahead until Thursday the 29th. For those of you that live on the Treasure Coast, our next seminar is Saturday, December 8th at 10 a.m. And the title of that is He Shoots, He Scores. So that picture is a little bit of a hint. And as we get closer to the seminar, you'll get some more hints. I just want to mention also, please, our blog, 4kcc.com/blog. You can see the list of the most recent posts. We post 6 times a week, and I encourage you, it takes about 3 to 4 minutes to read. I encourage you to check that out. All right, so today's webinar, Email 201, and just for a second, we're going to look back and say that in Email 101 and Email 102, in those webinars, first, we learned the proper format for email addresses. We learned that all email accounts have passwords and that passwords should be strong, perhaps the second or third strongest password you use. A lot of times people tend to make email passwords easy, and that shouldn't be. We also learned the differences between the to field, the carbon copy, and the blind carbon copy field. And we learned when to use and why you should use BCC, which is blind carbon copy. We also learned we should always use a relevant subject. We learned the difference between reply and reply all. And we learned that there are 2 methods of getting your email, webmail and an email client. We learned the differences between POP and IMAP when using an email client. So hopefully you've had a chance to look at, if you didn't attend live, that you had a chance to look at Email 101 and Email 102. If you didn't, you can go to 4kcc.com/webinars. And if you scroll down to the bottom of the page, you'll find both of those there. And you can take a look at them now. All right, so for today, Email 201. First, we're going to talk about handling spam or junk emails. Spam emails are unwanted emails. They usually are ads. They usually not only go to you, but to thousands of other people. And some email providers call this spam. Some call it junk. The 2 words are interchangeable. They basically mean the same thing. So about 70% of the email on the internet is actually spam, but all of the email providers have filters on their servers. So actually a lot of spam never even gets to you. It's deleted before it gets down into your inbox. Now, if a spam email appears in your inbox, you should not delete it, okay? If it appears in your inbox, do not delete a spam email. Instead, what you want to do is you want to mark it spam or junk. And the reason for that is if you just delete it, your email provider, or if you're using webmail or your email client, they don't learn. They don't know that you don't want to receive emails from that particular email address. But if you mark it spam or junk, then it learns that you don't want to get anything from that email address. Now also, the flip side is this way. You should check your spam or junk folder often, perhaps even once a day. I know some people don't even ever go look at it, and that's a mistake because sometimes emails that are actually good get dumped into your junk or spam folder. So you should go look at each email, and if an email is in your spam folder and it shouldn't be, don't just move it to the inbox. Don't drag it to the inbox or use the move option, because once again, your email client or the webmail, they're not learning when you do that. Instead, what you want to do is you want to mark it not junk or not spam. And all email providers have that option. Sometimes it's a right click on the email. Sometimes it's an icon at the top. It just depends, but everyone has that option. So don't just drag it or move it, mark it not junk or spam. So here's something that's important to know. When you mark an email as junk, you are blocking the sender's email address, not the content of the email. You're blocking the email address. Sometimes we'll have people log into us and they'll say, something's wrong. I'm getting the exact same email and I already marked it as spam. So here is a trick. I call it spammer's trick number 1. Send the exact same email from multiple email accounts. So you can easily get a spam email that is identical to another one you have, or could be 9 or 10 or 20 spam emails. They're identical, except they were sent from different email addresses. So when that happens, if you mark it spam or junk, you are marking a particular email address and you're not marking what's in the email. So that's why you can get the exact same spam email that you just blocked yesterday or today or whenever. And that's the reason. Now, if you have senders you trust, like for instance, if you trust John at 4kcc.com, and I hope you do, you should add them to your always allow, or sometimes it's called safe senders, or sometimes it's called a whitelist. Now, how you do this varies by email provider and email client software. And, we don't have time in a 30-minute webinar to show you every single one of them. But I do want to show you a couple examples, or at least one example. Here is from my Outlook. So I'm using Microsoft Office Outlook. I'm using Office Outlook 365. I got this email from Yelp in New Jersey. And you can see that what happens is Outlook has blocked the pictures. You can see the red X's on the pictures on the screen. And then if you look up top where I've just put the red box, you can see that it tells you there to help protect your privacy, Outlook prevented automatic download of some pictures. Now, the reason that they do that is this. When pictures are stored on a server, if you click an email that you can view those pictures, the server downloads that picture onto your machine, and now the spammer knows that they have a legitimate email address because you opened it. So what Outlook and many other email clients and web email, what they do is they block the pictures just in case it's a spammer. Now, in the case of my Outlook, if I want to mark this that it's okay, what I do is where that red box is, I actually right click. And when I right click, I get a small menu. And it gives me a bunch of options. One of them is download the pictures. I can change my settings. But the one we want to look out here is add sender to safe senders list. So if I know that Yelp out of New Jersey is not a spammer, and if I want to get their emails and I don't want to have to click all the time to download the pictures, I can click on add sender to safe senders list. And when I do that, the next email, not the one that's here now necessarily or anything else is in my inbox, but the next email will automatically download the pictures and I won't have to go through this process. Now, if I wanted to, if I wanted to, I could allow the entire domain. So if I wanted emails from anywhere at yelp.com to just open up the pictures, I could do that simply by choosing this from the menu. Add the domain at Yelp to save senders list. Now that's one way to get people on your safe senders or whitelist, whatever you want to call it. And there are a lot of ways. And again, I can't show in a 30-minute webinar, but if someone wants to know how to do it on their particular email, you could email me and I will help you with that. Now, getting back to spammers trick number 1, I'm going to show you another option that appears in email. Again, their trick is to send the exact same email from multiple email accounts. So now we know that when we mark something spam or junk, we are marking that email address, not the content of the email. So a way around that is to create what we call a rule, or Gmail calls them filters, and a few others do. And almost all providers give you the option to create rules and filters. Now, again, just like spam and junk means the same thing, rules and filters means the exact same thing. So if I use one or the other interchangeably, it means the exact same thing. All right, so what you do with a rule is you tell your email how to handle certain emails that are coming in. And you have some options. First, you can choose the details of the rule. How is an email selected for the rule? And then you choose how is it handled. And I'm going to show you that. Here is Gmail. And in Gmail, again, they're called filters. So if I click in Gmail under settings, that's how you get to it. And if I want to create a filter, here is the window that appears. Now, what I did as an example for you, where it says has the words, I typed in the word Viagra. So if an email has the word Viagra in it, whether it's in the subject or wherever, I then go down here and click on Create Filter. And when I do that, I get another window, and from that, I can choose what I want to do. And there are a variety of things. I can archive it right away. I can mark it as read. I can do all kinds of things. I can delete it. That was probably the most common use for the way I set this up. If I'm going to type in Viagra, I probably want to delete those emails. So getting back to the idea, let's say a spammer was sending you emails about Viagra, and they're sending from multiple email addresses. I could now create a filter using the word Viagra, and it wouldn't matter what email address it came from. It would then go wherever I told it to go. In this case, I would delete it. So that's how a rule works. I tell it which email to look for. It's looking for any email that has the word Viagra in it. And then I tell it what to do with that email. In this case, delete it. And once I make that rule, anything that comes in from now on would be deleted if it had the word Viagra in it. Now that's in Gmail. So let me show you in Outlook, because you're going to see a difference here. Here in Outlook, here is that first window where you tell Outlook what to look for. And look at all the different ways. Okay, where my name is in the to box, where my name is in the CC box, with specific words in the body. There's all kinds of options I can choose from. And once I choose that, then here are all the options of what I can do with that email. I can even make my computer play a sound. All right, I can do all kinds of things with it. And that's in Outlook. So I do want to show you that there are differences in what email providers allow you to do in terms of rules. So as a comparison, just look here. Here is Gmail on the left. Here is my Outlook on the right. On Gmail, we have about 6 options that we can choose on how to identify an email we want to do something with. On the right-hand side, that's Outlook, and there we have almost 30 options to choose from. And then once we identify it, same thing on the left, here's Gmail, and with Gmail, we can do about 12 things with it. Now, on the right-hand side is Outlook, where we can do about 20 or so different things with that email. And I don't show the screen in Outlook. I didn't copy that to show you, but there's also another window, which you don't have in Gmail, that allows you to make exceptions to the rule. So for instance, I could make a rule that says, if I have an email that has the word Viagra in it, I want you to delete it. But I could make the exception. If the email comes from, say, Joyce@4kcc.com, that would be an exception. It would not get deleted. So with Outlook, sometimes people ask me, why would I want Microsoft Outlook? And part of the reason is because there are so many more options to do things compared to some other, not just Gmail. I'm not picking on Gmail. I use Gmail and it's fine. But Outlook gives you a lot more options of things that you can do. So those are rules or filters. All right, the next thing is adding a signature to your email. And just about every email provider allows you to add a signature. And some give you the option that if you add the signature, it goes on every email you send out. Others give you the option to just put the signature in when you want it. That's the way I like in Outlook, but not everything gives you that. So here's an example. Here's my signature from my Outlook. So if I send an email from Outlook, and Outlook gives me the choice, do I want to put the signature in or don't I? And I can even have multiple signatures for different reasons and different things. But this is the one I use for business. Now, there's a few things I want to show you about this signature. The first thing is my name, John. That is my actual signature. All right, that is not just a font that looks like handwriting. That's my actual signature. And what I did there was I scanned my, I wrote my signature on a piece of paper, I scanned it, and there's a certain way you do it, and then I saved it as a picture. And it's actually a picture, but it is my actual signature. And that is a cool thing that you can do with some signatures. They will allow you to do that. Now, I'll point out a few other things. Right here where it says LinkedIn, if you got an email from me with my signature on it and you clicked on LinkedIn, it would take you to my LinkedIn profile. Now, if you don't know what LinkedIn is, that is social media that is geared more towards business people. So you can actually connect business to business and reps to rep and things like that. So if you click there, you would open up my LinkedIn profile. Over here, if you clicked in this box which shows my picture and says John Grubb, if you click that, that will go to my John Grubb Facebook. All right, as opposed to the next link down, which I've just circled in green, that is Keystone Computer Concepts. That's our Facebook page. So if I were to click there, you would go to our business page. And then below that, of course, you can see 4kcc.com. If you click there, that's a link in our signature, take you right to our website. Here's our Twitter account. Click there, it'll take you to Twitter. And then finally over on the right, that's our blog, which I strongly encourage that you go to. But if you click there from our signature, that will take you to our blog. All right, now that's my business signature, and that's how that works. So let me show you here. Now this is my Gmail signature, and you can see that I'm just a year or two younger in this picture. And you notice that it has Johnny Blue Note, which is my Gmail username. And then I put a little quote, which is my favorite quote in all the world. It is only with the heart that one sees rightly. What is essential is invisible to the eye. And that's from a neat little book called The Little Prince. Well, if you notice, Johnny Blue Note is underscored, and that is because it's a link. So if I sent you an email from Gmail and had my signature on there, if you clicked on Johnny Blue Note, you would go to my Johnny Blue Note website. And then if you did that, you'd be able to find out where I came up with the name Johnny Blue Note, what it means, blah, blah, blah. So that's another way of doing a signature. And again, this was done in Gmail. So it allowed me to put a picture in, it allowed me to put a link in, it allowed me to put a quote. Now, in Gmail, you can have one signature. As opposed to my Outlook one that I showed you for business, in there, I can make as many signatures as I want. I could have 20 signatures. All right, it's totally up to me. But in Gmail, you can make one signature. Also in Gmail, the signature is basically either on or off. So if I put that in there, it's going to go out on any Gmail that I send out. And that's how that works. All right, from signatures now, we're going to go to something called out of the office or on vacation. This is another option that most email clients give you. Okay, so we'll take a look, and here's what it means. It means that you could mark something, you could set up that if someone emailed you and you were out of the office, they would get an email back that says, hey, I'm out of the office today, tomorrow, whenever. And I'll get to your email as soon as I can, or whatever you want to word it. You can also mark that you're on vacation. Now, I would say this to you. I would caution you about this. It's kind of a neat thing. However, with the way things are today, with people who will just break into your home and social media, it's not always a good idea to let everyone know you're on vacation, because they may now assume that your house is empty, and they may decide to come by your house, and if no one's there, they might decide to break in. So I would tell you to be cautious about using the on vacation. Gmail gives you that option, which I'll show you shortly. But just be cautious about using it. Out of office is not so bad because most people would assume that there's other people in the office besides you. Okay, now, if your provider doesn't give you this option, you can actually create one as a rule or a filter. And I'll show you what I mean here. For instance, here is my Outlook 365. And I use something called Microsoft Exchange for my email. You can see that at the top where it says account information, then you see john@4kcc.com, and under that is Microsoft Exchange. Where the red box is, you see that it says automatic replies out of the office. I could click there and set that up very easily. Now, if you don't have Microsoft Exchange, even if you have Office 365, like Joyce has that, okay, this option does not appear under her account information. So, since she doesn't have that automatically there, like I do, she could simply make a rule. She could go into rules, and first she would make an email telling people what she wants to say, and she would save that email as a template and call it out of the office or whatever she wanted to call it. Then she would go into rules and set up a rule that says, hey, anyone who emails me, they'll automatically be sent this email. And there are options you can do. For instance, I'll show you here. Here's the Gmail one. They call this a vacation responder. But the truth is, you can use it as out of the office also. All right, even though they call it a vacation responder. So I could put the first day that I want it to start to happen. And, you know, then if I wanted to, it's optional, but if I wanted to pick a last day, I could do that. So if I was going to be out of the office from November 14th to November 21st, I could do that. I could make a subject and say out of the office. And then down in the box where the message is, I could type a message. Now, one of the things that Gmail gives you, and you can also do this in Outlook and other email clients and webmail, but it gives you the option to check a little box that says only send a response to people in my contacts. All right, so for instance, if you were getting an email from, let's say, wards.com, all right, maybe you're on their email list. Well, you know, you're not going to want to send them an email that says you're out of the office. Number one, a lot of big companies reject any emails that come to them anyway from emails that they send out as advertisement or, you know, just giving you information. They reject them outright. So to send them an email that says you're out of the office would be just a waste of email. So if I put a check in there and say only send a response to people in my contacts, at least then it would only go to those people and not everyone. So you have to be a little careful here because, for instance, I get 400 emails a day in the business account, and I probably get another 150 in my Gmail personal account, and then I have Yahoo and a whole bunch of others. If I were to check, you know, make a out of office response, that could be a lot of emails that unnecessarily wouldn't have to go out. Now, whatever you do here in Gmail, once you do all that, make sure you click Save Changes. So you would have to turn the vacation responder on and do all these other things and then save your changes. If you forget that and you get off the page, they won't be saved and then it won't happen. So that's what you want to be careful of doing. Again, just a word of caution, be careful how many people you tell are on vacation, that you're on vacation. All right. So that is it for today's webinar, Email 201. I hope that you will join us for Email 202. That's going to be the last one in the series. And that'll be in 2 weeks on a Thursday. And please sign up for that. And we'll see you then. Joyce, are there any questions at this point?
No, there are no questions today.
Okay, no questions today. Thank you very much. So have a good day and just keep emailing.